Hi, everybody. You're now experiencing the Gretna Bill Show.
Hi, John.
Bill, how are you?
Good. I was thinking today, man, a season goes pretty damn fast. It seems like just a few weeks ago, I was talking to you about the beginning of the season.
It does.
My gosh. Well, the good news of that is the other end of that is that in another couple of weeks, it'll seem we'll be talking about the 2022 season, right?
Already working on it.
Oh, good to hear. So before we get started, I wanted to ask you how the UCI finals were down in West Virginia. How'd that go, man? Was it exciting or what?
It was very exciting. A lot of our mass racers there, a lot of people that I see at every race, spectated for every race. I think the highlight was watching Christopher Blevins win the men's XC, literally right at the finish line for that with Reese Wilson, who won the first round of the downhill earlier in the week, sitting right in front of me.
Wow. Yeah, I heard it was a pretty exciting XC race. I didn't watch it on Red Bull TV yet, but wow, you were right there, huh?
Right there. Yeah, it
Awesome.
was very exciting.
So very cool. So we're ready to wrap up the 2021 Mass Series in two. Both the Enduro wraps up on Sunday. Steel City, is that correct?
No, Enduro wraps up. I think it's the 10th of October. Back up at Glen Park.
Okay. So, but Saturday is Grenoble Rewind, correct?
It is. So that's XC and endurance finals at Grenoble. And this is the first time we've had finals there. And it's something that I've always wanted to do. Not only do I love the venue, a lot of history there. It's close to home, private property. Heather and Tom do such a great job with it. But it's just one of those venues that I've always wanted to have finals at. And it's 20 minutes away from home. So it makes for a much easier travel day, too.
A nice day for you all the way around. We're looking for good weather, too, right? It looks like.
So far, so good, Bill.
All right. Good to hear. So, I'm jazzed to hear the wrap-up statistics. Let's dive right in there.
Well, I was just going through looking at some numbers to have something to talk about. And some of the notes that I made were from the 20,000 foot overview, highlights of the season. Just running down the list. A return to mass starts at French Creek. We returned to mass starts, which was great. We had almost a full season, juggled a couple, had one or two that canceled for various reasons. Another highlight, great attendance at a lot of the races. The highlight there being Fairhill Opener, off the charts at 640. With no on-site register. We haven't seen that, I don't know, 6-7 years, something like that.
That was a good time, too. I enjoyed being there. It was a good day, good vibe, and I felt a lot of that grassroots energy that I kind of haven't felt in a while.
Yeah, it was a good indicator of how much pent-up energy there was for getting out and getting back to racing as normal. I mean, we did have a season last year. It was somewhat abbreviated, still had some record numbers, but just to see anything over 600, I mean, we haven't seen that in years, really.
Years. Yeah, awesome. So, do you have some individual stats about winners, losers, participants throughout the season as we approach the finals on Saturday?
I do. I mentioned I looked at a couple races that I thought were notable mentions as far as the attendance, and I mentioned Fairhill. Another Bear Creek, the Bear Creek Challenge at 350. I mean, that's a record number, even going back to when they hosted state championships.
And even when you go back to the national championship there, or not championship, but the national event they had there, that was a regional.
Yes, it was. That was 13 and 14 were nationals, but it was also states in think that was also 2013. And that was right around 350 as well. So that was, if I remember right, that was a qualifier. It was a USAC race. It was state championships. But just to get to 350 at Bear Creek, and Gary has changed the course, and everybody seems to love it. I mentioned earlier the junior attendance has been off the charts as well. I was just preparing some numbers for one of the Pennsylvania League coaches for her team, and as I did it, I took a series of I think I took 4 or 5 races and drilled down into the junior numbers at some of those races. And one of them, and I forget which one it is, I'd have to dig it up, but just the Cat 2 U19 men was over 40 juniors in a Cat 2 U19 men.
Wow. Excellent. Circling back to Bear Creek, Gary's been doing a great job up there. So I wanted to throw a kudo out to him. The great night race, etc. But yeah.
That was
good job, Gary. Thank you.
Yeah, great job, Gary. And that was up. I don't know, 30, 40 racers over last year as well. But such a good time for everybody.
Truly, indeed, we had a great time up there.
Yeah, lots of fun.
Too good of a time.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard it went into the late night.
Oh my gosh, I was just glad to get to bed before sunrise.
Yeah.
So.
I know it was still going on when we packed it up and headed up to our room. That's for sure.
Good stuff. So, do you have any predictions on who is going to be the champions, the teams, the individuals? Is there anything locked up yet?
Pretty close. Let me take a look. We've got a couple that are really close, and I'm going to look on my tablet while we're doing this, because there is a tie somewhere. There's a couple ties. Let me see if I can find them. But on the team side, I really don't have to worry about a tiebreaker because the way we do the team scoring. But on individual scoring, I think we have a couple ties going into it. And we've got a number of ways we do tiebreakers. And I believe it's first we look at number of wins, then we look at it's a 3-level. I think the second or third is basically who did better at finals. If it comes down to it, we'll go look at who did better at finals. But we've got ways to deal with that. But let me look at Team XC. So what we do on the team stuff, Bill, XC, we have 2 types of teams. We have open, which is all riders, all categories. Then we have grassroots, which is no Cat 1 and no pro riders. So looking at the XC side, Trestle Bridge is in first, Henry's Bike Shop in second, and Bike Sports Sly Fox in third. Looking at it, that will probably stay that way. I don't see those top spots changing.
And just to reference again, when you're talking about teams, you're talking about how many participants. I mean, it's open to the number, but how many scores do you keep per race?
Top 10. We take the top, no matter how many are on a team, we take the top 10 points earners, and we have a certain scale that we use that the better finish a rider has, the more points they earn.
I really like that system because it gives a new meaning to like somebody who's 15 years old to get on your team who might win a category, and at the same time somebody who's maybe 60 years old to win a category, or a female that's an older racer. So, it's like everybody can participate. Everybody's an important member of the team. Is that kind of the way you're viewing it? And
yes, it is. And this is something that I've worked on. I've been running the Mass since 2007, and we've tweaked the team scoring over the years a number of times to try to make it as competitive and as fair as possible. So to go back to what you said, we use the same scale, the same point scale, whether it is a 15 to 18 Cat 3 Junior or whether it is a Cat 1 Pro Open Racer. First place is first place, same number of points. So a junior winning a race, same amount of points as a Cat 1 expert winning a race. So it makes it so that a team does not just crush the team scoring by loading up on Cat 1 racers. It awards the teams that have a lot of depth in all classes and categories.
No, I love that. And that's the team spirit. That's the participation that we want and we love. Everybody's having a good time. So, you want to get Nancy on your team, right?
We do.
She's going to bring some big points in.
We do. And juniors and looking at the grassroots, and this is what I was looking at this week. So this one is probably going to come down to finals. Team Cycle Fit has 95 points. Circle Cycle Racing has 94. And the way we do the team points at a race, so if I remember right, a team wins the race. They gather the most points for their top 10 racers that earn points. And that team then gets 10 points. The second place team gets 9 points. So it keeps it close.
Yeah.
It isn't like someone can get 100 points and the next place gets 50. First place gets 10, second gets 9.
Yeah.
So it keeps it close and competitive.
Yeah. So, if you have top 10 scores, going back to that, so it'd be great. So you can say, hey, we're going to field a team of 20 or 30, juniors, males, women, Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3, et cetera. It's a really cool team thing because everybody can feel as though they've got a chance to participate and be an important part of their team point total for that race, no matter what. They're 14 years old or they're 64 years old, right?
Right.
I love that. I love that. That's a good feel. That's a good look, dude.
Look it over on the individual side, just working through some close ones. So our pro Cat 1 Open men, Bobby Lee, 1,968 points. Mike Festa, 1,895. Brian Stanky, 1,791. Those are all close. And I believe you get 300 points for winning the race. So that's easily going to come down to finals just in that Pro Cat 1 Open men.
So that's double points on Saturday.
No, it's not. It's we don't do double points anymore. It's, if I remember right, it's 300 for the win, and then it works its way down. It's probably 280 per second, and so on and so forth. So the scale that we use on the individual side is a little different than the team side. And the points awarded are a little different and higher on the Pro Cat 1 versus Cat 2 versus Cat 3. But those aren't used for team. But it makes it so that we try to keep it close so that, what we love to see is it come down to finals, of course.
Of course.
Let's see if we have any others that really jump out at me.
How about the Pro Cat 1 women?
I would say Serena DeFelice has got that locked up. Aaron Gordon, now second and third. Aaron Gordon at 1,692 points and Lindsay Groves at 1,631. Yeah, either of those ladies could win that category, could win that class for the series on Saturday at Grove.
Oh, that sounds great. Are we going to award champions on Saturday? Are you able?
We are. One of our main sponsors, Volet, they help us with the series jerseys. They are en route. They will be awarded. And then we have a custom Birch medals that will go first, second, and third. So every category winner gets a Volet custom jersey, and first, second, and third get a custom birch mass medal.
Geez, that sounds really exciting. Very cool, man. So cool. So how about the winners of the team competitions?
The team itself. So I got these custom. It's almost like a trophy from a company called Regeared that does a lot of awards for a lot of the NICA leagues.
Yeah.
They do our medals for finals, and this year we're doing something new where it's a custom wooden award that's got like a sprocket sticking out of it. So those will go. I have first, second, and third for XC Open team, grassroots teams, and first, second, and third on the endurance side, endurance teams.
Yeah.
That'll also happen.
Who's winning that endurance, male and female? Who's got that locked up?
Let's see. I've got to switch. See what that looks like. So on the endurance men, Nelson Oderman may have that locked up at 1,727 points. Owen Fail is in second, and Thomas Repko in third. That could change if someone is a no-show. It could change, and it's hard to say, Bill, because what we do on the scoring side. So on the XC side, what are we? 10 races?
Yeah,
11. But we take your best 7.
Yeah,
and drop anything else. On the endurance side, we take your best 6. So it's very hard to predict without looking at how many races each person has. It's very hard to say whether someone has it locked up or not. And to further that, I'll have people that will email me and say, I think I have it locked up on the XC side, and maybe Cat 2, I'd like to Cat up to Cat 1.
Yeah.
Typically, my response is I don't guarantee anything, because there's a lot of math in the scoring system with dropping races, and someone doesn't show, and the guy behind you, maybe he only has 6 and this becomes number 7, but you've got 7, so you're going to drop one, or maybe you don't drop, or maybe the one your finals isn't enough to change anything.
Yeah.
So until I load the results in at the end of the race, it's very hard to predict. Now, a lot of people can sit down and do the math, and it can take a while. But if you look at the points tables and look at the people in front of you and behind you and really spreadsheet it out or write it down and crunch the numbers, a lot of people do that, and they can tell what they've got to do if they've got it locked up. On the Cat 2 side, we've probably got some that are locked up.
Yeah.
They have said they're going to Cat up and try a Cat 1 race at finals. So, but there's a lot of math that goes on in that scoring system itself.
So I was just looking at your hat. I almost picked out my Transylvania Epic hat to wear this evening. And I was wondering, is that what I'm looking at on your
That's what you're looking
noggin?
at. Yep. Favorite hat.
Dude, they're great hats. Kudos to Mike Kuhn in that day.
Favorite hat. Yeah. And Mike sold that race to Ryan that runs Rattling as well. So
Yes.
he's done a great job with it. He's actually based out of, I think, Myrtle Beach, and he runs some gravel grinders and some other races down that way. And he's one of these guys that's doing it for a living and does a great job at it. So,
because I'm thinking of gravel right now, because I'm thinking of unpaved. I'm going to try to go up and do that, and that's the rage. So I wanted to ask you, and I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but have you considered that? I mean, you went into enduro. That was kind of a thing at one point in time. And so now I'm wondering if you've explored the gravel scene at all for the map.
As a series, I've thought about it, but my plate's full, to be honest with you.
For sure. And let me take
that part of, those longer distances, especially point to point, there's a lot of logistics. I mean,
yeah.
that's a season's worth of planning.
Got it.
So in addition to the series, I run Big Elk myself with some help and some paid staff, and even that's I'm down in Fair Hill almost all week prepping for that. So
yeah,
there's no way I could take anything else on, and I don't consider that would be outside of what we are as a mountain bike series.
Got it. No, well put and well said. And so in thinking of all the work that you've done, and I want to take this opportunity to make sure that I thank you for over the years, our friendship, the Super Series, what we can expect next year. You've just run a great series, and I want to make sure that I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I appreciate it, and a lot of people do thank us. And I've always told myself if it stops being fun, I'll stop doing it. And I've been doing it since 2007.
Also, I think all of us that are participants in it probably think and say the same thing to ourselves. When it stops not being fun, then I'm not going to participate. So, we're all in this together, and it was fun. It was really fun this year. And even at the finals, it's cool to hang out now that we're kind of through the COVID thing. So you're going to have some brewery down there, some beers, some food, and
Heather's got a lot planned. Heather has a lot planned. Most of that is probably on her Bike Reg page, but yeah, she does it like nobody else.
I agree, man. I love the way she pours her heart and soul into it as well.
Yes. Lots of unicorns.
Yeah, for sure. So do you have any asterisks that you want to talk about to relative to the season this year? Anything that stands out as being unique and different or trendy?
Well, there are a couple things to mention. I mentioned the juniors numbers are off the charts, and
that's good to hear. Yeah,
I just exchanged a text or two with Mike Kuhn today, and really that it started with Mike, are you planning to have the relay next year? And the answer to that is yes.
Yeah,
it sounds like second weekend in April, I think is going to be the relay. We'll move rattling. Rattling will probably be the first weekend in April. If anybody's a trail runner, Ryan usually does a trail run up there Saturday. And I think he has sold rattling out the last couple years, weeks in advance.
Yeah.
At well over 200. And the only limiter there is actually parking. If you've ever been up to Weiser up there, there's not a ton of parking, but I've done that event on and off ever since Mike started it, when it used to be over at, I think it was a Small Valley Girl Scout camp was the first one. But such a great trail system. Such a great trail system and so much fun. But yeah, I think the tentative plan is rattling the first weekend in April, then the relay. I can tell you. And then we'll open up the XC season with Fair Hill. Let me swap the calendar for a second. Because Fair Hill, we reserve those venues a year in advance.
Oh shit! Wow.
I've already reserved Big Elk for next year. Dusty reserved for the spring opener, literally the week after we finished that race, because it's such a popular area that if you want to be back there again, you better get that reserved quickly. So let me just fast forward here on the calendar. He's on here. So wrong calendar. Let me try something. Trying to do this on my tablet without changing the screen on the computer.
Plus, you had a long day today, right? Driving back from West Virginia.
Yeah, and it was a tough drive today too. Coming up 81, there were a couple, wide loads that had both lanes blocked. We ran into that twice. Hit some traffic, 95 north of Baltimore, dead stop for a couple minutes as they bring it down to 2 lanes.
Yeah.
So, going down was a piece of cake, and And I mean, 7 hours door to door, which really isn't horrible. Made it down in 6.5. So it's not, uh, I don't have it on. I'd have to fire up my other computer, but I am pretty sure Rattling's going to be April 3rd. So Mike will probably run the 9th, 10th, and then Dusty's going to run April 23rd for the opener at Fair Hill with a rain date of the 30th. French Creek typically runs the Saturday before Mother's Day. And from there, we're still filling it in. I know the Challenger, he's going to be the day before Father's Day. George was down at World Cup as well with his. If you watch the short track recap, look for Rob Warner's comment about a guy with a really big sign. And, yeah, that's George's sign.
You got to love Rob Warner, man. That guy's got some energy, right?
Holy shit. Does. He does. I met him and Claudio 2 years ago. We were down there in one of the bars after, I think it was the Saturday race, and met him and Claudio, and just such good guys to talk to. Well,
yeah.
So a couple other things. Every Enduro has set an attendance record this year.
Wow.
Every single one of them. We did not have Spring Mountain that was originally planned, and it did not work out with the venue and the owner. So we opened up with Southern Tier in Vestal, New York, which it's a little bit of the trip, but it's a great little trail system. It's rooty. It rained. It was wet. It was sloppy. Everybody had a great time.
Yeah, of course.
It was, I think it was about 160 racers, which is good for an Enduro. And it was probably 80 2 years ago because we didn't have it last year.
Yeah.
And we went to Blue Mountain. It was close to a sellout at 200. Mountain Creek was also close to that. And Steel City has always been the biggest. I mean, Jason, the guy that promotes it and that does all our Enduro timing, he's just been buying more timing chips for Enduros every year. And I think we were 220 at Steel City last year. I expect it to be at least that. I was up there and we rode that trail system the weekend before last, I think it was. And, the folks with cutters, Lisa and John Ronca, and all those guys and gals have been in there building, and there's berms, jumps, there's some big rock drops, a little gap jump. It's something new every year.
Makes me want to get a new Enduro bike and start hanging out.
You should go see the folks at Cutters. And stage one is all new for Steel City this year. So, yeah, I expect great things this Sunday, too.
Just what I need, another bike, N+1.
Yes. The other thing I'll mention, too, on the Enduro side is we now have an all-female junior team, Fire, as they call themselves, which is F, the number 1, RE, for females first racing Enduro.
Wow, and, that's cool.
These girls are fast. They put a number of these ladies on the podium. I've led them around our local haunt down at Brandywine. And at first, I was a little bit worried about where we were going to go and the trails. By the end, I was just trying to keep up and get out of the way.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Else, let's see. So we really covered a lot of that. I think all the notes I made, I think I've covered everything I had as far as talking points.
So, I just love the energy of the whole series. And I didn't make all the races, but I get that in my head that I want to make more of them next year because of the good times I had this year. And so, you had a successful year this year. So I'm wagering that next year is even going to be more of a great time.
I think so, too. While I mentioned that we've had a lot of really good numbers, the one thing that we have not returned to normal is we don't have quite as many people registering for the series as we did. I mean, we had more than last year, but we haven't returned to pre-COVID numbers. And I attribute that to just some uncertainty as to whether there will be a series or do it as anything and get canceled. And
Yeah.
we didn't really have COVID claim anything other than maybe Spring Mountain. We did have to move the Challenger because that college was either a testing site or a vaccine site. And we had to move the Sizzler too. We were able to keep the date, but we moved it down to Camp Edge because that college was also some kind of site. And what was fun about the Sizzler this year is Camp Edge is a smaller venue with a more compact trail system. So we really ran a short lap, almost World Cup style course down there. I think we were 6 laps for Cat 1 pros, and they were short, fast laps, and everyone seemed to love it. We really can't do that at a big race in a major venue because we can't put 200 people on the course all together. So
I like the sounds of that.
Out.
Yeah, I like the sounds of that because what I'm thinking is, that gives you a little taste of something different, a different style of racing. And again, more similar to World Cup racing.
Not something we could do.
Kind of interesting.
It was. It's not something we could do everywhere, but it was good to do it there.
Once in a while, right?
Yeah, we did it at Glen Park a couple of years ago. It was a hit there too. So it's just something where we looked at how we could adapt to a venue change and do something a little different. So
good job on that too. Way to adapt throughout the whole season. So let me ask you this. So now, since we don't have to have USA cycling licenses, how are you going to manage, or I should say govern, the progression from Cat 4 to Cat 3 to Cat 2 to Cat 1? Are you going to institute any kind of a policy there, informal or formal? Or
we've always had it. It's on the website. It's based on several things. Number of wins, number of top threes. With a bunch of exceptions too. Small classes, ladies classes, masters classes.
Yeah.
But I will be honest with you that this polices itself. I haven't had to get involved with sending an email or telling someone they have to upgrade. We've just proved that we don't need hard, fast rules, licenses, or anything. That it's just everybody takes care of it. And that sort of goes back to the teams too. The teams take care of their riders, and everybody knows if they should move up, they're moving up. And it usually comes from the Cat 3 to Cat 2s. Now, in the off season, I'll get a number of emails from someone and they'll lay out their scenario. This is what they did, wins or top threes, but it might be a small class or it might be a small juniors class. We really don't enforce an upgrade rule on the juniors because we don't want to push anyone any harder. That's just a great way to push people out of racing as well.
Good stuff.
So we look at that every year, and it's rare that I have to get involved other than respond to a couple emails and answer a couple questions.
Good stuff. What can so you and I, let's get together again next year about end of March like we did last year, or maybe even a little sooner. As soon as you get the schedule firmed up, hit me up and we'll do this again and get off to another great season. 2022, man.
I honestly tried to release a preliminary schedule by Christmas. Now that can be tough because you can't lock in all the venues, but literally this week, the emails are going out to promoters. What are you thinking? Typically most of us try to run with the same weekend we had before.
Yeah.
Unless something happens, which I believe Snowshoe is going to move to the last weekend in July next year. At least that's the rumor that we've heard. So whatever weekend that is, that will be blocked out. There will be no mass races on the Snowshoe weekend because so many people go, whether I go or not.
Are they going to have amateur racing at Snowshoe next year? Have you heard anything on that?
I haven't. No, and we were talking about that because when they did it at Wyndham, years ago, there were citizens races.
There were. I was part of that.
I don't know whether there will be. I'm going to say I doubt it.
Yeah.
And I'll say that because if you look at some of the XC courses now, when you watch a recap from Snowshoe, I mean, these are tough courses now. There's a huge boulder field. There's a steep section in the woods. There's another fast, steep section littered with rocks. So these courses have gotten much tougher. It would have to be a different course. And I think it was at Wyndham. I don't think they got out on the same course, but I'd be surprised to see amateur racing come to the World Cup based on the way it's run now.
Got it. Great chat, man. Thanks for coming on the show. I always enjoy talking to you about this. I always enjoy seeing you guys at the races, and it's just seeing everybody, man. It's what we do. It's what we do.
That's what we do, and that's why we do it.
That's why we do it. Great stuff. Thanks again for a great season. Thanks again for working already for 2022. And I'll see you Saturday morning at Grenoble Rewind for the finals. And let's whoop it up and party.
Yep. I would ask anybody watching to pre-register for Grenoble. It makes things a lot easier for finals for me to just make sure I've got all the data right. So for those going to Grenoble, we will have on-site registration. But if you're in the series and you're in the hunt, do us all a favor and pre-register.
Got it. Let me finally say one closing note. Is there anything that we can do, Lupine Lights, to possibly increase preseason registration for the series? Is there any way that maybe, because I did that with Unpaved, we gave away some lights, for people that are pre-registered and put them in a lottery or whatever. So if there's anything like that I can do, I'd be happy to do that so we can bump up that registration for the series.
Fair enough.
So keep that in mind.
I will. And, it's bikes, lights, bike parts, tires. Stuff is it's tough to come by this year.
Right.
So hopefully
I'd be glad to give some lights away and say people, hey, if you pre-register for the series before, April 1st, then you got a chance to win a Lupine light or two or something like that.
Great. Appreciate the offer, Bill.
Okay. Thanks again. And thanks for coming on the show, and take care. I'll see you Saturday.
Okay. Thanks for having me, Bill. We'll see you Saturday.
Peace out.
Yeah. Peace, brother. Take care.
Take care, brother.